Finally, something to get me interested again. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is my late review for The Walking Dead, Episode 5, Season 10, What It Always Is. And I hope you like the new intro. That's part of the reason I have been gone for so long and everything's coming in late this last week and a half. Got my hands on After Effects, and that's the end result. I'm working on a whole bunch of new intros and outros and trying to make my channel look good. So, this was finally something that really makes me want to see the next episode. So let's get right into it. You start out with Kelly. It's the black girl who is kind of part of the new crew that came in with Magna and Yumiko. And she's out trying to catch a boar. Winds up running into some walkers, shoots the boar. The walkers attack her. She gets away. They start eating the boar, though, so she has to start running to avoid getting caught by the walkers. Falls down a hill, gets hurt pretty bad. And that's where they cut to credits. The beginning credits come out, and then you see Negan. He's at a stream, drinking some water, and this random stranger dude shows up, and apparently he's a big fan of Negan, as we learn throughout the show. So, you get a quick clip of everybody at Hilltop. They're killing off the last of the walkers that broke through last week. So they're kind of fixing things up. And you can see that there's some friction between Magna and Yumiko. They had like this little love scene a couple of weeks ago, and ever since then there's just like been tension between those two. So from there you see Ezekiel, Daryl, and Sadiq. They meet up. You start to learn something about Ezekiel that I thought was really interesting, and they bring up some good points. And I'll get to that in a second. But before that, Connie asks these hikers that were out from Hilltop if they had seen Kelly, because obviously she'd gone missing. And nobody really seen anything. And you flash forward to Negan and the stranger. He's trying to buddy up with Negan. He brings Negan's Lucille back. He brings the leather jacket back. And he kind of oversteps his bounds because he's like, oh, I heard you made Rick cut his own son's arm off and you wound up like doing something to Carl. And Negan corrects him really quick, and you can see that Negan's kind of getting a little irritated with this guy. So a zombie attacks Negan, and the dude doesn't help because he's actually pulling the leather jacket and Lucille out of this bag that he had. And you see Negan kind of turning back into Negan a little bit. Then he hears these screams from this woman and child. There's a boy. They're inside this RV, and there's, of course, walkers there. So Negan goes in, he saves the woman and the boy, and the stranger goes, yeah, classic Negan, because he's just like bashing the zombie's head in with the door to the RV. And again, you can see Negan just kind of getting more and more irritated. You have a Connie and Daryl moment where, Daryl's about to leave and Connie's... It almost seems like there's something that might be starting between those two, but you can't really tell. And so Daryl and Connie decide to go out and look for Kelly, and they run into Magna, who is supposed to be on watch, and took off. So Alden and Yumiko are back at Hilltop, and they notice some supplies are missing. And so those two things, finding Magna out in the forest and the supplies missing, are going to go hand in hand. But before that, we get a really great scene with Ezekiel and Sadiq. And it was kind of an unexpected reveal here because Ezekiel, he's been starting to cough a little bit more through this episode. And finally, about halfway through, he's really starting to cough in front of Sadiq. Ezekiel shows him this like goiter thing, this like really swollen part of his throat here. And he says he tells Sadiq he knows what it is. It's cancer. And he said his grandmother had it, his father had it, and now he has it. And they're talking about how, it used to be you could get chemo, you could get, treatments, and it was like a 96% survival rate. But that's not true in this world that they live in now because, to the best of our knowledge, there is no chemotherapy. And cancer, you would have to believe, is pretty final. And so Sadiq says, there's still things that we can do to, kind of keep it in remission or whatever. So, good stuff. And then the next scene you get is Negan and this stranger. They're in the RV. The lady and the boy that they saved went for a little walk outside. And the stranger is asking Negan if they should search for supplies. They should go ahead and kill these two. And Negan, he's just had enough. He's like, you know what, dude? Go ahead, just get out of here. I really can't stand your face anymore, basically. And so the dude kind of is like, yeah, you're just like everyone else, and takes off. Then you have this scene with Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and a random whisper. And basically how this goes down is Gamma comes to Alpha. She's asking for another body because they're basically tainting the water supply. And they cut up in the walkers and let them bleed out. And so she's trying to get this other guy, and then this random whisper kind of like chimes in and says, instead of like doing all this slow stuff, why don't we just go in and kill everybody? At which point, basically, Alpha gives the whole community a vote, and nobody goes against Alpha. And so she literally cuts this dude down, like cuts him in the leg. He drops to his knees, cuts him again as he goes to stab her in the arm, and then hands the knife to Beta. Beta finishes him off. And it was really intense. I actually really liked Samantha Morton's facial expressions during this. Like, she really sold it. I'm not really that familiar with her work, but you can tell that she's got some acting chops from this scene. I think it really sold very well. I really liked it. So, here's where things start to break down. Negan has this great conversation with this new boy that he saved, and he's got a toy airplane, and Negan starts talking about what it's like to be on a plane, because obviously the kid's never seen anything. From there, you get a scene where Gamma is cutting this next body, and she's just cutting and cutting and cutting, and you see her having all these flashbacks about how the Whisperers killed her sister. They just killed this dude in front of her. And it looks like Gamma's having quite a breakdown there. So Daryl, Connie, Magna, they're all out in the woods after that. They find Kelly. She's really busted up. Daryl says, she's not going to make it to Hilltop. We got to get her some help. Then, Negan. He's walking up to the RV. He's got some firewood in his hand. As he's walking up, this stranger thought Negan was somehow testing him. The dude took a tire iron to the woman and the boy. Killed them both. And this is where Negan turns into full Negan again. He grabs a rock and he brains this dude, and he just keeps going. After that, he grabs his leather jacket, he throws it on, he's got Lucille. It's Negan again. So it was really exciting to see that build up, dude. Like, honestly, this whole episode was bringing Negan, back to the badass we all know and love. And absolutely loved it. absolutely cool. This dude sent Negan over the edge, and now he's back over the edge. So after that, Magna and Yumiko have a conversation about, what they've had to do to survive, having to kill people to survive. The way that Yumiko kind of judges the way Magna thinks nowadays, and how she hasn't really changed, but Yumiko has kind of adopted this new lifestyle. So there's a big separation there. Then Connie and Daryl say goodbye, because Daryl has to leave. And then the show ends with Negan. Straight up Negan, dude. Has his bat. He crosses the Whisperer's line and he is going hunting. He finds a pack of walkers and he just starts braining all of them. Until a few Whisperers take him down to the ground. And then there's Beta standing over Negan. And they cut off the show with Negan saying, "Alright, you gruesome motherfucker," something like that. "Let's do this." And that's where they end the show. And it was a really great place because it was like, okay, now you really want to see what happens. You got the first big face-off with Negan and the Whisperers, and it's Beta. So you know that this is like, building up to something. And I thought it was really great. I really did. I thought it was amazing. So it looks like at some point, somehow, Negan is indeed going to lead the charge against the Whisperers. At least that's what they're making it look like. I was very, very excited about that. So, honestly, this was a much better show. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with Ezekiel and Sadiq, the relationship there that seems to be building. The friendship, the cancer reveal. And, of course, Negan now in the clutches of the Whisperers, mainly with Beta. I mean, that's pretty intriguing. That's what we've been wanting to see. It took 5 episodes to get there, but at least we're finally getting there. So I'm very excited about that. Really happy that they did that. It built some intrigue. And this episode, like I said, building Negan back up. I mean, that was cool. Honestly, that was what they've needed to do from the jump. Like, I don't know why they've waited this long because I could have done without the first 4 episodes, to be very honest. Start it right here and move forward. But now we're here. I like it. I'm excited. They did some cool things with this episode. Really had a couple of connecting moments with characters, and I really like that. Sadiq and Ezekiel, really like that. I liked Negan when he was talking to the boy that he saved. That was really cool too. So, overall, much, much better. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Which is a lot higher than what I've given most Walking Dead shows recently. Sometimes quite a bit higher. So ladies and gentlemen, 8 out of 10. Obviously, I really liked it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation, out.